The most legendary rings in history are those which have been blessed by the gods. I'm talking about the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, the Ring of Power from The Witcher, and of course, the Seal of Solomon. This legendary artifact granted its wearer total dominion over demons, elemental beings of immense power who were invisible to the human eye, but whose presence could be felt in every facet of life. Some believe it was a gift from God, while others claim it was stolen from the depths of hell itself. What we do know is that when worn, the Seal of Solomon bestowed upon its owner the ability to see, command, and control these demonic forces. Now, if you haven't heard of the Seal of Solomon before, you're not alone.
Ow.
For centuries, stories of this mystical ring have been passed down through word of mouth, only recently being committed to writing. As such, there are few historical records that mention its existence, making it difficult for historians to separate fact from fiction. However, despite the lack of concrete evidence, the legends surrounding the seal are too fascinating to ignore. And who knows, maybe one day new discoveries will shed light on the truth behind this enigmatic artifact. So let's talk about how this magical ring came into the hands of King Solomon, the supposed wealthiest man in history. At the height of his reign, according to legend, Solomon was bestowed with the Seal of Solomon by an angel, granting him the power to control the elemental beings known as demons. These demons were said to be incredibly powerful, and their influence over human affairs was so great that they could bring about war, famine, and pestilence at will. But with the help of the Seal of Solomon, King Solomon was able to harness their power for good, using them to protect his kingdom from harm. He also used the seal to gain wealth, power, and knowledge beyond measure. With the aid of demons, he built grand palaces and amassed vast treasures that have never been equaled. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing for King Solomon. In fact, the legend goes that the king grew so arrogant that he began to abuse the power that the seal had given him. As a result, God was forced to intervene and strip Solomon of his divine favor. Despite this, the king continued to use the seal, albeit with less success. Eventually, he lost control of the demons, and they rebelled against him, wreaking havoc across the land. In the end, the seal was sealed away, and humanity was saved from the demons. What makes the story of the Seal of Solomon so interesting is that it blurs the line between good and evil. On one hand, the seal was a gift from God that allowed Solomon to do great things for his people. But on the other hand, it was a source of immense power that ultimately led to the king's downfall. It raises questions about the nature of power and the dangers of unchecked ambition. Moreover, the story also highlights the importance of humility and obedience in the face of divine power. But let's take a closer look at the seal itself. The Seal of Solomon is described as a ring of immense power that was engraved with the sacred name of God. It is said to have been made from the horns of a mythical creature known as a unicorn, which was believed to possess healing powers. The ring was said to glow with an otherworldly light, and its power could be felt throughout the land. When Solomon wore the seal, he was able to summon demons who would obey his every command. He used them to build great structures like the First Temple in Jerusalem, which was considered a marvel of the ancient world. He also used the seal to gain wealth, power, and knowledge. In fact, according to legend, the seal was the reason that Solomon was chosen by God to succeed David as king of Israel. When God asked him how he would like to be rewarded for his unwavering faith and obedience, Solomon famously asked for wisdom, not wealth or power. And God was so pleased with his request that he not only granted it, but also gave him riches and honor beyond measure. Despite its awesome power, the Seal of Solomon was not without its flaws. As I mentioned earlier, Solomon eventually became arrogant and abused the power that the seal gave him. As a result, God was forced to intervene and strip Solomon of his divine favor. According to legend, the seal then fell into the hands of King Heracles, who used it for evil purposes. He unleashed demons upon the land, causing widespread destruction and suffering. Eventually, the seal was recovered, and humanity was saved from the demons. But not everyone believes that the Seal of Solomon was actually taken from hell. Some scholars speculate that it may have been a symbol of wisdom and enlightenment, rather than a literal weapon of control. They argue that the stories of Solomon's wealth and power were exaggerated or entirely fabricated. Instead, they suggest that the seal may have represented a higher, level of understanding and enlightenment that allowed Solomon to live a life of luxury and comfort. This interpretation is supported by the fact that the seal is often depicted as a flower or plant rather than a literal weapon. Additionally, some scholars believe that the demons that Solomon commanded were not evil spirits, but rather elemental beings of pure energy that were drawn to the king's wisdom and power. They argue that Solomon's ability to control these demons was a metaphor for his ability to control his own thoughts and emotions. By mastering himself, he was able to master the world around him. The Seal of Solomon has captured the imaginations of people for centuries. Its story has inspired countless works of art, literature, and film. It has been featured in everything from paintings to movies to video games. The seal has become a symbol of mystery and intrigue, representing the hidden forces that shape our world. One of the most famous depictions of the Seal of Solomon can be found in the 1997 film The Devil's Advocate, starring Keanu Reeves. In the movie, the seal is depicted as a ring that gives its wearer powers over the supernatural. The character of John Milton, played by Al Pacino, uses the seal to manipulate and control those around him, ultimately leading to chaos and destruction. Another popular depiction of the seal can be found in the video game series The Witcher. In the game, the seal is known as the Ring of Solomon, and it is said to give its wearer powers over the demonic forces known as fiends. The ring is a valuable artifact that is sought after by both good and evil forces, and its power is truly formidable. The Seal of Solomon is a powerful symbol that has captured the imaginations of people for centuries. Whether it is depicted in film, literature, video games, or other forms of art, the seal serves as a reminder of the hidden forces that shape our world and the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. It's just something so intriguing about the idea of a ring that can control the very fabric of reality. The Seal of Solomon has become a staple of fantasy and supernatural fiction. If you ask me, it's hard not to be captivated by the allure of such a powerful artifact. However, it's important to remember that the stories of the Seal of Solomon are ultimately just that, stories. There is no historical evidence to support the claims that Solomon had powers over the demonic forces of hell. Nonetheless, the legends surrounding the seal continue to capture the imaginations of people today. Perhaps the enduring popularity of the Seal of Solomon lies in its ability to tap into our deepest fears and desires. The idea of being able to control the forces of darkness is a tempting one, and the stories of Solomon's wealth and power have resonated with people throughout history. But what do you think? Do you believe that the Seal of Solomon was a real artifact with powers over the demonic forces of hell, or is it nothing more than a legend? Let me know in the comments below. As for me, I'm fascinated by the stories and myths surrounding the seal. Even if I can't say for sure whether or not they're true, the idea of a ring that can control the very fabric of reality is just too intriguing to pass up. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the world of the occult. We'll continue to explore the strange and mysterious lore surrounding the Seal of Solomon in future videos, so stay tuned if you want to learn more. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our latest content. Till next time, stay curious and keep asking questions.